Viscount Leisure, my name's Charles. I'm going to take you on a very quick tutorial around this Coachman VIP 565 that we've got here, just to make sure that we know how everything operates and what we need to do to get everything working really. So we will start with what we do once we get to a site. We want to make sure we are nice and level. The way we do this is we use our jockey wheel on the front here, okay, and we wind up or lower down the front of the caravan using the jockey wheel just here, okay. Until we're nice and level across the board. I would suggest having a spirit level of some description inside the van, and that will give you the idea of that. If you need to raise or lower one side of the van, we can use levelling wedges to go in underneath the wheels, drive it up onto the wedge to raise one side of the caravan. Okay, so level is important for your comfort mainly, and also everything will just work better in there when you are level as well. Once we're level, we then want to put down our corner steadies. We've got one of those on each corner, the winding handle you'll find in the front locker. Okay, we wind these down so they're nice and tight onto the floor. What we mustn't do is try and level the caravan on those, because what we will do is then damage those. And they're purely there to stabilise the caravan. They are not there to level the caravan with. So level the caravan first and then put your legs down. You're not going to go too far wrong. We've also got an external power point there as well, which will be available to you if you are plugged into mains, and you've also got an external barbecue point here as well, which will give you access to your gas out without removing the gas bottle for the likes of your gas barbecue outside the van. We'll do a full hitch up with you when you pick the van up, but we'll just have a quick chat about a couple of things on the hitch head here. We have an Alco hitch head stabilising system and an Alco hitch there, so you need to make sure you've got an Alco compatible tow ball. If you've got any questions about that, please do ask. If you've got a new tow ball, make sure that you are sanding off the paint so you're down to bare metal, because the friction pads inside that head unit want to grab onto the tow ball, and that's what stops it snaking. It's an anti-snaking device, so if it's got a smooth surface, that's just going to be null and void. That being said, also if you have an old tow bar that you're going to be using which has got grease on it, you must make sure you thoroughly remove that grease. Again, we don't want to get any grease up in that hitch head, otherwise again it's going to be null and void and not doing what it said it's going to do. Also got our Alco trailer control here as well, so what that will do is independently brake the wheels if it feels itself getting out of check, but you do need to make sure you've got the right electrics on your car to make that work. All right, so you do need a 12-volt feed coming through from the car. That's pretty much it for that side of stuff, but we'll, as I say, when you pick the van up, we'll go through all of that with you. In here is our gas locker. You can see that we've got an LPG sticker there, so this is where we've got to keep our gas. When we're traveling, make sure our gas bottles are strapped in. Okay, you've got room for 2 gas bottles in here, as you can see, but once leave them strapped in. As I say, we want to keep those nice and secure, and also when we're traveling, the gas bottle needs to be turned off from the head here. All right, so we screw that all the way down. That will turn off the gas. And of course, once we get to site, we open the gas up. That then comes through our gas hose here, or pigtail as we would call it in the trade. This screws into your bottle on a opposite thread, so it's not lefty loosey righty tighty. We go the other way round, okay, and you will need a gas spanner to nip that up, make sure it's nice and tight. The gas travels through that into our bulkhead regulator situated up here, which will turn it into the working gas pressure for the van, and then that will send it off to your appliances inside. We've also got some hose in here as well. We've also got a adapter for a shower point outside, and your wheel lock is in there as well, and a couple of other bits and pieces. Okay, once we've got our gas turned on, we're then going to take our Aquarol, which you can see here. You'll need one of these. This is for our fresh water feed coming into the van. You'll wheel that off to your service point on site, fill it up with water, bring it back. We're then going to drop our water pump into it, okay? The way we do that is we drop it into the barrel first, and then we go into the side of the van, because this is a semi-rigid pipe, and otherwise we end up cracking things if we try and bend this into it once it's already in. So remove it, and then pull it out when we're doing it. Okay, so into the barrel first, and then into the side of the caravan. There's a water filter there as well, so you'll be able to see when you last changed your water filters. It's got a date system on there as well. And this one here is where our shower point goes into. We take the cap off and we will have a shower outside. The heating and is an Aldi heating system, so this is our boiler flue for that. The boiler situated just behind here. The boiler will run off 240 volt electric when we're plugged into mains, and it will also run on gas when we're not plugged into mains, hence why we need a boiler flue very much like we have at home. So it does get quite warm and hot with the air coming out of that, so don't cover it and just be careful because it does get hot. Talking about batteries and power then, this is where our leisure battery sits just here. Okay, so this will provide our 12 volt power to the van. We'll do the likes of our lights, our water pump, our fridge panel, X, Y and Z. And where that isn't working, the gas will fill in when we're off grid. But if we have mains electric and we pay for mains electric, you get your mains hookup lead, you can see here the orange one coming in. So you'll need one of those. That plugs into the side of the van, then we plug that in to the post. That way we're not walking around with a live cable, so that way round. And that will again give us domestic power inside the van, okay? And we'll have a look at a bit more what that means when we're inside. These here are our fridge vents, so our fridge is sitting behind here. It uses heat to cool, so what it does is pull the cold air in from the bottom, it expels the hot air out from the top. I can feel that nice warm air coming out because I've had that fridge running for a little bit, just to make sure everything is doing what it needs to do. You can see there you've got your mover. We'll have a look at that when you pick your van up. We know where our fresh water goes in, so this is where our wastewater comes out, or our grey water as we would call it. We've got one coming from our kitchen, one coming from our bathroom. So you will need a waste master that will lay on the floor just here, and that will collect all of our grey water. All right, the grey hose that's in the front locker will fit into those, and then you drop those into the waste barrel. And then of course once that's full, you've got to take it off, empty it, bring it back empty. We've got a couple of things here. I'll grab the keys, but this is our flush tank for our toilet, so you will need to get some chemicals. You'll either use, for your flush tank, you'll either use green or pink fluid in there, again depending on which one you use. It will tell you the dilution that you need to use, so you do dilute it into there. What that does is keep everything lubricated, keeps everything smelling nice in the toilet, so yeah, you want to make sure you're doing that. Also, to fill that up, you will need some kind of, I don't know, watering can, a small watering can, something similar to that, which will help you get stuff in there. I'll just get the key for this and we'll open up the locker. So once you flush the toilet, of course, it's got to go somewhere. All right, and that's going to go into our toilet cassette just here. There she blows. Okay, this is the drain just at the top here for our flush tank, so when we're not using the van, always drain everything down, and we take the stopper at the end, that will drain that down. And then when we need to empty our cassette, which there'll be there's an LED light that will tell you when it's time to do that, we pull this out. Okay, you can see it's on wheels. Okay, and there's also an extendable handle so we can wheel it along a bit like a suitcase. We take it to our dedicated point, which is a chemical disposal, toilet disposal point, because we do put chemicals in this as well. Once we're there, what we do is take the cap off the end. We depress this button here. What that does is release the air pressure inside the unit and makes it easier for us to empty the contents out. Okay, I would then suggest just giving it a rinse out, emptying it again just to make sure we're getting rid of everything that we need to out of there. We then need to reprime this, so the way we do that is we use a chemical, either green or blue, into here. Again, depending on what chemical you use, the bottle will tell you how to dilute it into there. What that will do is help break everything down and make it easier when we're emptying it, and also of course keep it smelling nice, which is the most important thing. I'd also only recommend using caravan toilet paper, as it does break down much better than the normal stuff, and the other stuff will clog up your toilet and make it more unpleasant when we are trying to empty. That just goes back in there, clips into place, and there we go. You can see around all these lockers we've got a rubber seal. I would suggest getting some silicone spray, just every now and again, giving a little spray just to keep it soft and supple and doing what it should do, otherwise they can perish over time. Don't forget you'll need a number plate depicting the car you are towing with, of course, as well. We've also got a locker there which goes in underneath one of our beds. Okay, so that is that. We've now got everything plugged into the van, so we can now go in and start turning some stuff on. First things first, what we're going to do is we're going to come in and make sure our boiler drain valve is shut, because you would have left that open. So if you look down there, you'll see a yellow switch just down here. That is, you want that flat basically. When you get to the van, it will be poking up in the air, and you want to just flick it down so it's flat as it is just down there. Okay, let's see if I can zoom into that. There we go. So that's how you want to see it, like that. All right. Okay, so once that's shut, we're then going to come and close all of our taps, because we'll have left those open, and we'll talk more about that later. So close the tap in here, in your bathroom as well, and also your shower, of course, as well. Then what we need to do is fill the boiler up with water, because it will be empty, full of air. We need to push all that air out, which is going to come out through the tap. So we're going to come over to our panel up here, and we're going to turn on our master switch, which is the top one there. That's going to turn on our panel. We're then going to, the next button down is also our lights, so you can see this will turn off all of our lights. All right, so if you're going out for the day, you can just press one button, it'll turn all the lights off. This one here is for our awning light outside, and then this one here is for our water pump. All right, so off, water pump off, water pump on. We're then going to fill the boiler up, so we need to come to our tap, find the hot side of it. Okay, turn the tap on, and what you see, I've got a nice steady flow of water here. That's because I've already primed this system, but what you'll get is gurgling, coughing and spluttering as it pulls the water out of your aquaroll outside, and then fills up your boiler and then makes its way to the tap. So it does take a little bit of time, so be patient. Okay, but eventually you'll end up with a steady flow of water like that. We're then going to do it to the cold side as well. This will be much quicker because, of course, we're not filling a boiler up. It's coming straight from the aquaroll to your tap. So there we go. That's all working nicely. We're then going to go and do it in your washroom. Okay, do it to the shower and to the sink. Even if you're not planning on using the shower, still prime the system because you'll find the whole system will work better for it. Get all the air out of it. Okay. Right. We've got water to everywhere now. Now we want to start heating it up. So we've got to come to our Audi panel, which is situated just here. Okay. So we wake the panel up. So this is the on-off button for it just here. Okay. See if I can get a better picture of it. Right, there we go. And we wake the panel up by pressing this button here. Okay. Okay, let me see what the best way of doing this is. Okay, so this is the Audi panel. Top one here is our internal temperature. All right, so we can change that purely by pressing the button. It's all touch screen, so we can go from 0 all the way up to 30. Next one down is our hot water. Okay, so we can either have it off, we can have it on, or we can have it on boost. What boost basically does is prioritise the hot water over the heating. So if we want to heat the water up really quickly, we want to have a couple of back-to-back showers, if we flick it over to that, for about 15 minutes, it will take all its efforts to heat the water rather than heat the van, and just it's a bit like an override really, and it will reset itself back to its normal setting afterwards. The next one is our power setting. Now we can either run the boiler on electric when we're plugged into mains, or we can run it on gas, depending on what kind of camping we're doing. I'm plugged into mains, so I've got it running on 2 kilowatts of power. I could have it on 1 kilowatt. I could have it on 2 kilowatts, or I could have it on 3, depending on what kind of power I've got access to on site. So potentially some sites won't allow you to have 3 kilowatts of power, but it's all a bit of a balancing act. So if I had, for example, had that on 3 kilowatts of power, I had my fridge going on mains, I was using a TV, and then I put my kettle on, I might keep tripping out my trip switches down here, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Okay, so I need to balance the power out, so I might need to drop this down to 2 or 1 kilowatt in order to be able to use other things in the van. Obviously, the more kilowatts you're using, the more efficient the heating is, and the quicker everything will work, but you do have to balance it out, okay? If I don't have mains electric, I can turn that off completely and light the boiler on gas. There we go, just press that button, that will then light the boiler on gas, and I'm purely using my gas to do my heating and hot water. Obviously making sure that I've got enough gas in the gas bottle, and I've turned my gas bottle on. I can use a combination of the two, so potentially I could use 3 kilowatts of power and gas. So it was a really cold day and I wanted to heat the van up really quickly, I could do so. All right, so there we go. Anyway, 2 kilowatts for me here is fine, and that's all working nicely. There you can go into the settings and set priorities and things like that, and timers. We're not going to go into that now. You'll find your book pack will be in your front drawer here when you pick the van up, so there'll be instruction manuals in there. But the important thing is to know roughly how to turn the heating on, change the temperature, put the water on, and change the power source that we're using. Right, we shall look at our little fuse box down here. So this is our PSU, power supply unit. This deals with both sides of the power, so 12 volt and 240. 12 volts dealt with down here with our fuses. You can see down there, it tells us what they all do. So if you need to change a fuse, that's where you come to. This one up here is our trip switches for our 240 when we're plugged into mains. Again, tells you what it does. But this one here is our main our main RCD coming into the van. So if you need to check if you're actually getting 240 volt, you come here, press the test button at the top, which is this white one. If I press that and this trips, then that's great. I've got 240 volt power coming to the van and all is well. If I press that here and it doesn't trip out, it stays in the upwards position, then of course I'm not getting power. So 9 times out of 10, if you're not, the problem's where you're plugged into. They also have trip switches, so go and check that, or your main lead isn't plugged in properly or something like that, okay? But that's just a good little test to work out what's going on. In here you can see the boiler we've got there. This is the brain for our motor mover here, for our e-move, and that's our alarm system there for from Sargent. There you can see our solar regulator just over here in the corner. Alright, so we have a solar panel on board. That's why there's a battery left in here, because we can't leave 2 loose connections, otherwise if they touch them we'll start blowing stuff up. But that there is trickle charging your battery. It will never completely revive a dead battery. It's there to maintain your current battery. All right, but as I say, I would always recommend, if you're buying a van, is to replace the battery, get a brand new one. You want an AGM battery with this van because you've got a motor mover, so that's just something to bear in mind. But yeah, I would always recommend a new battery, so that you know when you come to use your motor mover or anything else, you can do it, because we can't guarantee a second-hand battery, that's all. Right, let's go around the van, just check we know what everything is. I'm just going to open everything up, make sure we're not missing anything. Good. Around the windows here we've got blinds, okay, and fly screens to everything. If I can get them out, there we go, fly screens as well. The way the windows work, they'll work the same way. Just have a quick look round. We open them up with these handles, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we open, let's get that out of the way. We open the window, all right, and we wait for a click. No, we don't, sorry. We just tighten them up from here, 1 and 2. All right, and that will hold the window open. And then to release it, we just unscrew them slightly. Okay, 1 and 2. There we go, and then we can shut the window. You can lock it on a breather setting, so that leaves it slightly open, a bit like windows at home. That will allow air through the vans. It's a really hot day. You want to keep some airflow, but still keep some security. You can do that way. If you're towing though, or leaving the van for any period of time, I would recommend making sure that you do close them properly. Okay. Speaker systems are here, okay, and we've got our individual reading lights. We've got a blind for this window. It doesn't have a fly screen because the window doesn't open. We've got lots of little light switches dotted around the place as well. I'm going to close this up. Okay. Right, we've got 2 240 volt power sockets down there. All right, don't forget they will only operate when you are plugged into mains. Other than that, they are null and void because they are domestic power sockets. In here we've got our stereo, okay, and I think that's the switch for our outside light, outside I believe, because you've got another awning light almost outside, which is like a service light for when if we have to change anything in the dark. Out on the other side of the van. So source button is our on and off button. We've got a radio, we've got an aux in, so we can plug our phone in if we want to, and we also got a USB there as well. So I won't teach you to use stereo, but the source button will flick between all the bits and pieces you need to use. All right. Also got a CD player up the top there as well, and to turn it off, just hold that down. There we go. Coming into the kitchen. Microwaves in here. Not going to teach you how to use a microwave, but the only thing I will say is it says here tap eco to wake. All right, but you have to do it a couple of times to do it. When you're traveling, make sure you take your microwave plate out. Okay, put it somewhere safe. These can fly out during transit, so just remove those. All right. We've got a extractor fan above us, where it's a sort of dual fan really. It goes both ways. So open it up, we open this up, and that will open the dome over and above it, okay, and then we can turn it on and then change the direction of the flow, whether we're sucking air in or pulling air out. Don't forget, of course, to shut that when you're traveling, and also if it starts raining as well. You've also got a blind for that as well. Right, when we're travelling, make sure we keep this glass down as well, for the same reason as the microwave plate. We see these smashed on the floor all the time, so just keep them down. Obviously when we're on site we can leave it open, 3 gas burner hob, 1 electric. Electric only works when we're plugged into mains. We turn that on purely from here. Okay, you can see when it's on because we've got a red dot there. Make sure this is all nice and cool before you put the lid down. Also make sure that's off before you put the lid down as well. To light the gas hobs, real simple. Make sure you've turned the gas on and you've got enough gas. Turn it on, hold it down, press the igniter button. Actually I'm trying to light the grill there, ignore me. So this one here, there we go. So then we can, it's a bit like any gas hob really. Okay, so that's that. We've got a separate gas grill, separate gas oven. Just remember that is a gas oven, a domestic caravan oven. Sorry, let me get my words straight. That is not a domestic oven, it is a caravan oven, so it may take longer to cook things than the packet says, so just bear that in mind. I've just come a crop of that myself. In here, it's just storage. You can also see we've got a plug socket in here. That's the plug for the hot plate. Okay. Okay. Right. The fridge. Right, 3-way fridge. So that means it will work on mains electric when we're plugged in. It will work on gas when we're not. And it will work off 12 volt from the car when you're towing. Okay, so I've got it lit on gas at the moment because I've been testing it. We can change the temperature of the fridge by pressing this button here. Okay, like so. To change the fuel, we press this one, and you can see I can switch between different settings. We've got this one which says A. Okay, let's go back to that. That's the one you want to leave it on really. So that's automatic, so it will pick its preferred power source. So it knows I'm plugged into mains, so it has picked that as the option to heat it, to chill the fridge. I can change it myself by pressing this button. Go to gas. I can go, when I want to do it with the car, I can change it to car. But if you just leave it on automatic, it will do it all for you. Okay. This is the on-off button. Hold it down to turn it off, and hold it down to turn it on. In there, fridge, nice and cool. We've had that on for a while, just checking everything's working. Freezer's on as well. So just opens with a little catch there. Okay. Over this side, you can see we've got our two 240 volt power sockets. We've got a 12 volt one there as well, and our TV point. We've got our carbon monoxide and smoke alarm up there, and a TV bracket just there. Our table is situated in here, so it's a freestanding table for a dining in the dining area, or of course you could put it outside and do what you like with it really. Okay, in here got a few things. Our header tank for our Audi heating system, because it's a wet central heating system. All right, so you just want to make sure that's in between the two lines as we are, so that's perfect. We've got our TV aerial here. It's a directional TV aerial in the downwards position at the minute. When you get to site, you want to use your TV. You unlock the locking nut and just push it up and lock it back into place again. Okay, that's now raised it up above the van. We can use the little handle here. That will change the plane of the aerial if we need to. Not forgetting when we finished, pull it down and lock it back into place. All right. That signal then goes over to our booster box over here. We can turn that on and off from the top. And we've got a gain switch here. I'll just leave it on maximum if I'm honest. And that will then boost the signal going to our radio and to our what do you call it? Radio. I'll get it out in a minute. Right, we've also got our satellite system on the roof here as well. Okay, so there'll be an instruction manual in your book pack for that. Power button is just there. I've got it locked on at the minute, GPS there. But what we do is we just press OK. All right, and that will then start searching for the satellite. Astra 2 is the one that you want it to be searching for. Okay, and that will do its job for you. All right, there we go. Okay, we've got a concertina blind that comes across here. All right, so we can block off the 2 bedrooms. Got lots of little cubbies, drawers here as well. These beds are all on gas struts, so we can get underneath them. All right, so there's our carpets underneath there. We've got light switches just here as well. All right, and reading lights over there. We've got another TV bracket here and a TV point, so we can have a TV in the bedroom if we wish. Right, bathroom. All pretty simple in here. Nice big shower. Okay, make sure everything is secure and closed. I must say, when we're travelling, make sure you've got all your doors and everything shut and everything secure, because it does bounce around quite a lot. See, I've got a heated towel rail there from my Aldi heating system. But the main thing we want to talk about in here is the toilet. So we looked at it from the outside. In the top here is our flush tank, and in the bottom here is our toilet cassette. So we use the toilet in the normal way. Don't worry, it's all nice and clean. When we used it, we've got the flush button here. Press the flush. That will then pump some water. It will be coloured, whatever colour fluid you've put in there. Okay, that will fill the bowl up. And then we use this underneath there, push it to one side. That opens the gate. Everything drops down into the cassette. And then we pull that over, and that creates the seal and keeps everything locked away. All right, so making sure that is all the way over. If you're struggling to get the cassette out from the other side, it's probably because this is slightly open. Don't try and force it out. If you can't get it out freely, it's because this isn't over properly. Okay. And then we've got our little LED indicator there, which will tell us when it's time to empty the cassette. So don't ignore that, otherwise you make a right old mess in the cassette housing. Okay, that's the basics of how everything works. What we'll do now is just break the van down as if we're going home. Firstly, you secure everything, make sure everything's locked away, everything's secure as we said. Your this is down, your microwave plate's out, also this as well, make sure that's down as well. Okay, so we'll start turning some stuff off. So I'm going to turn my master thing off here, so that's off there, that's turned everything off. I'm then going to turn my fridge off because I'm not towing anywhere, but you may well leave that on. Just bear in mind that doesn't turn off with the master, so if you're towing with your fridge on, you'll need to turn it off afterwards, otherwise you'll drain your battery down. Then we'll drain all of our water. So I'm going to come in here, lift this up again and find our boiler drain valve. We talked about that earlier. That's the yellow switch under here. So I'm going to lift that up into the upwards position, and I can hear stuff draining. If I just zoom in there, you can see that now poking up in the air. Okay, so that's what you want to be doing. Then we're going to come and leave all of our taps open. We talked about this earlier. The reason for that is we want to leave air travelling through the system and allow water to escape if it needs to. All right, so leave it in between hot and cold. That way, if we get any frost or anything like that, water expands when it freezes. The amount of times we see cracked taps, cracked pipes. The next time you come to plumb your van up, you've got a right old mess on your hands and you need to replace a tap or a bit of piping and you've got water all over the floor. So in between hot and cold, that way you can't go too far wrong. Do that with all of your taps. Again, hot and cold. And in your shower. There we go. As I say, if you can get in the habit of doing that in the winter, it won't be a problem. The amount of times we have people saying, oh, well, everything's leaking or something's not working. Did you winterize your van properly? No, that's why. All right, so if you do it as a matter of course every time, it's never going to be an issue. I'll do the same with your toilet. Empty your toilet, empty your flush. Just leave no water in the van and you can't really go wrong, okay? Then we're going to come outside. We're going to turn off our gas bottle, make sure it's strapped in. I'm going to remove, this is my test gas bottle, so I'll take this one out in a second. Then what we're going to do is disconnect our water, go and empty that all out, clean it all out, stow that away wherever you want to put it. So to take this off, we've got a little trigger. They are a bit delicate, so just wiggle it out and then take it out. I'll put this in your front locker so you know where it is. If we look under here, you'll see our boiler draining. Okay. You're then going to say your wastewater as well, empty your toilet, unplug your mains power. My colleague's just given me the nod to say he's unplugged it from the post, so I can now unplug it from here. All right, and that is sort of it. Then we're getting hitched up again, making sure everything is secure, all your skylights are shut, and you're ready for the road. Lift your legs up, of course, as well, and you're ready to go. So you can see your satellite up there. All right, right. That's pretty much it. Anything you need to know, just ring us if you don't know it, and everything will be in your book pack anyway as well. So anyway, thanks for watching and enjoy your new van.